Hello, IML students. Today we are going to learn about when do I trade Forex. So basically, what is the best time for me to trade Forex? Starting now. Here are some quick facts about me. My name is Adeze Duncan. I am your IML Forex 101 trainer. I've been a teacher for 10 years and now here I am educating you on the facts and figures of Forex. Upon finishing this video, you should have a very good understanding of the following questions. Read through them quietly to yourself. As you are taking notes, make sure to pause this video in order to answer these questions. Before we go into the lesson, I want to actually talk about some very relevant vocabulary. So please make sure you take some good notes on these vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is spread. You're going to hear this word often, but I want to talk to you about what the spread is exactly. You do know what currency pairs are. We talked about what exchange rates are. So basically the spread is what your broker charges you. It is the difference between the two currency pairs. So if you're trying to buy the euro and sell the USD, it is the difference between the exchange rates. However much, if you were to take them and subtract them, you get whatever the spread is. That is what you would be paying your broker right off the top. Volatility is when the market conditions begin to change rapidly, and you see this a lot during high volatility. So high volatility means the market conditions change rapidly. You see big moves, major news releases are coming out. This is a trader's paradise. This is a time to catch big moves. You see larger candlesticks in this time. And then low volatility, the market is not changing very rapidly. It's much more slow and sluggish. No major news releases. This is a trader's worst nightmare, and this is usually the time that new traders try to force trades that they're not actually there. So this is the time when you see low volatility, stay out of the market. Liquidity is the amount of market participants that are actually in the market at any given time. So low liquidity means there's not very many market participants, or at least not very many participants putting in orders. High liquidity means there's lots of market participants putting in orders. You usually see a lot of market participants around major news releases. That's because there's a lot of people wanting to take advantage of what's occurring in the market. It is the worst time to trade when there is low liquidity. It is the best time to trade at high liquidity. So high news releases. Whether you look at the news or not, it's good to know at least when major events are going to occur so that you can set up and be ready for it. Volume is the size of the orders that are being put in by the market participants. So it really pertains to specific currencies. So if you are doing a high volume trade, that means you are purchasing a lot of a specific currency. So major market participants are doing major purchases in specific currencies. So some currency pairs are going to have higher volumes, and you'll see that depending on the session that you're trading in. I'll talk about that more as we go further. Low volume, not very many orders happening. You see this around holiday times, the end of the London session, the beginning of the Sydney session. Very low volume, not very many orders taking place. So now back to the Forex trading sessions. When is the best time to trade? Well, first, there are actually 4 main Forex trading sessions. Yes, there are smaller ones that are within each of these, but we're going to talk about the 4. So these are the 4 right here. Go ahead, take a look at it, screenshot it, take some notes on it. We'll talk about them each. Starting with the Sydney session, this is where the trading day officially begins in the Forex market. It is the smallest and most commonest of all of the markets. The major pairs that you will see in this one is the AUD, Australian, and the New Zealand dollar, NZD pairs. Those are going to be the ones that you see the initial movement. Those are going to be the ones that you start seeing more higher volume trades taking place because that particular economy is open. But it is a very slow market. You see the times listed on the screen. However, it could be different depending on where you are. So at the end of this slide, you will actually see, you'll have a way of going and finding out what time it opens for you. But right now, those are listed in Eastern time. This is not really the market to be looking for major moves, not at all. This is the market that you should be kind of studying what happened in the New York session and getting ready to set up for the new trading session. Because like I said, this is where the session officially begins with Forex trading in the Sydney session. So the Sydney session is now followed by the Tokyo session. This is the second session In the forex trading, in the world of forex, it is the second one to open. It is the third largest forex trading center in the world. Obviously, the yen is going to be the most traded currency during that time, and it is the third most currency traded in all of forex. It sees about 6% of forex transactions, so that means it's going to be a lot of high volume trades taking place with the yen pairs. Also, it is part of the Asian session. Okay, let's get it out. The Asian session. You will usually see Sydney session, Tokyo, or you might just see Asian session. The Asian makes up both the Sydney and the Tokyo. This is also a very low liquid and low volume. You're going to see higher spreads in this one, same as you would see high spreads in the Sydney session. Why? Because there's not very many market participants out there trying to trade. So again, even though the Japanese market is open, overall, all around the world, not very many market participants are trading heavily on the yen pairs. So this is not a time to be looking for magnificent setups. Yes, you can get some nice trades out of the market, but it's not the time to be looking at magnificent setups, and you will be paying higher in the spreads. Now we have the biggest trading session of all of forex, the London session. It is the third official session as in order of how they go, but it is the biggest, most largest session to trade in. The pairs that are going to be affected are the pound, the euro, and the Swiss franc. Also, this has historically been the center of trading. Europe has always been the center of trading. 34% of all forex transactions take place here. So you're going to be seeing very high liquidity, high volume trades taking place, much lower spreads. Why? Because it's not going to be very hard for your broker to arrange a trade for you. You're going to see major news releases taking place during this time. All eyes are going to be on these pairs along with whatever they are, matched up with, such as the pound and the dollar, or the pound and the yen. So this is a time to be looking for magnificent trade setups. This is not a time to be planning out. You should have been planning all of that out during the Tokyo and the Sydney session. This is a time to be watching and waiting for your setups to be ready to go. Followed by the London session, we have the New York session, which is also the other biggest trading session of all of forex. It is the fourth and final. It marks the end of the forex trading day. Even though forex runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, this is the end of the cycle, and then we go back to the Sydney after this. 85% of trades involve the US dollar, so you can expect major moves to be taking place during the New York session. Major news releases are also occurring around the start of the New York trading session, and the pairs that are going to be drastically affected, you're going to see major volatility, are going to be the USD, the Canadian pairs. Those are going to be the ones that are going to be moving a lot. High volatility, low spreads during this time, high volume trades taking place. Like I said, 85% of the trades involve the US dollar. All right. And then it actually slows down after about 12 p.m. But this session, and I'm talking Eastern time, it actually opens at 8 a.m. and goes till 5 p.m. Eastern time. But during, around 12 p.m. Eastern time, there is a drop, and I'm going to explain why. So when actually is the best time to trade? I've talked about all of the 4 different trading sessions. When is the actual best time to trade? The absolute best time to trade is going to be during the session overlaps. There are 2 major overlaps that you want to look at. It's going to be the London session and the New York session. That is by far the best overlap. It is the most liquid. You're going to have crazy amount of news coming out. You're going to have news for the US coming out. You're going to have news for all Europe pairs, all London pairs, all of those types of pairs are going to be coming out. So a lot of news releases which cause the market to move. Also, then you've got the London and the Tokyo overlap. That's also a very good overlap. But again, I want to stress that London, New York is the best. Not saying that you can't make any money in any of the other sessions. During the Sydney and the Tokyo session overlap, that's really not a good time to be trying to just look for major moves. Yes, you can still trade, but you're not going to be getting major moves during that time. You can see very clearly on this picture, you can see the London and the New York overlap. You can see the Tokyo and the London overlap. Now, there is a Sydney and Tokyo session overlap, but really, honestly, guys, they really just lump Tokyo and Sydney together and call it the Asian session. And that is a very mild, calm session. Not very large news releases are taking place. That is not a time to be looking for power moves. That is a time to be looking at your next trade setup possibilities, or even reviewing how your trading day went. That's a good time to be doing that. Not a time to be looking for major moves. Yes, you can still trade, but you want to be very realistic. That is a time to stay out of the market. So now, when are the actual worst times to trade? The worst times to trade are after the London session closes. During the New York session, pretty much noontime, which would be Eastern noontime, I'm talking about, 12 p.m. Eastern time, or after 1 p.m. Eastern time, when the overlap stops. It gets much more slow, much more sluggish. No major news releases are coming out anymore. All the damage has been done. Everybody's already made their major moves. So now this is a good time to be just reevaluating how things went, looking for new setups coming up for the next forex trading session. Also, during the start of the Sydney session, that is not a good time. So when the New York session closes and the Sydney session opens, poor time to look for trade setups. This goes all the way through to the beginning of the Tokyo session. So pretty much the entire Asian session is really just not a great time to be looking for major moves. And then when there's no overlaps at all, you can just count that out. Another horrible time to be looking for trades is during major holidays. For instance, in the US, when we have major holidays here, do not be looking for major setups for any US pair. And that's going to be really sad because remember, 85% of pairs involve the US dollar. So then another one would be in Europe. When they are having a major holiday there, being that they are the center of all world trade, probably is not a good day to be trading. So sit back, enjoy your family, go on vacation, look at new setups, review, reflect, but do not trade. Here is an example of what I'm talking about and why it is not a good time to trade. So another vocab term that I wanted to throw in there would be the word consolidation. Consolidation is basically when there's a lot of nothing happening. Pretty much the market is going one way, another way. They're not really getting anywhere. You can see a very clear sideways movement. So all of the little orange boxes you see here on the screen, those are all examples of consolidation. This is a time where if you get caught up in one of those trades, you're going to be thinking, oh, look, it's going up. Oh, shoot, it's going down. Oh, look, it's going up. That is not a good time to be in the market. You should not be trading. And this is exactly what happens at the end of the New York session, when the London session closes and that major overlap is done around at 12 p.m. Eastern time. This is what happens. It slows down. There's really nothing happening. Whatever major gains you had, the market starts to go up a little bit and you start losing it. So when the overlap is done, close out your profits. Get out of there unless you're in it for the long haul. You can see the gray shaded box. The market is making some major moves. That's going to happen during overlaps. But then that consolidation is going to happen during the slow, mild, no news. This is why you do not want to trade those times. So as promised, here is a nice link that you can go to find out what time the sessions are open for you. Because a lot of times I look at those charts and try to, calculate, because I'm actually Central Time, try to calculate what it is. I don't like calculations. I just like things to be done for me. So if you go to forex.timezoneconverter.com, you can find your time zone and it will tell you exactly which one is open, when the next one is opening, and what time you can expect it to close. So there you have it. I hope this was very helpful to you. Thank you guys for listening to this. Hopefully this was very helpful to you. Please, if you want some good interaction and whatnot, please come visit me on IML TV. Forex 101 is what I teach. My name is Adeze Duncan. I am your IML Forex.